What is up, guys? Welcome to a lovely cocooned, sheltered £102,000 2018 BMW M5. I am in sunny yet windy and incredibly cold Wales, driving this absolute monster. Now, the BMW M5, I'll admit, has never appealed to me as a car that I would like to own, or a car necessarily that I would like to drive. I felt like some of the other M cars were a little bit smaller, more sportier, more nimble, a little bit more up my street. However, I'm not going to turn down the opportunity to get behind the wheel of the very tech-savvy BMW M5. This is the first M car that has got a four-wheel drive system if you discount any of the X series, and it is bloody intelligent. I've been with BMW for the last 24 hours, and if you follow me on Twitter, you would have seen the absolute organisational disaster that I had to get here. I nearly missed my first train, which would have resulted in me missing the further two trains that I had to get to be in Wales. But even prior to the day that I needed to get a train, I had in my diary that this drive was in May. I found out on the 20th of March that the drive was on the 21st of March instead of the 21st of May, thanks to Matt Watson from Carwell. So let's go for a drive, see how we get on, and I'm going to try and relay my first impressions of driving this car. We had a couple of hours yesterday at the Anglesey race circuit, a circuit that I've never done before, I've never driven before, never even been there, and BMW gave us free reign of 3 BMW M5s to get to grips with, to play around with some of the buttons, and fundamentally get used to it before we drive some of the best roads that the UK has to offer. There's a lot of these traffic lights here. There's a lot of roadworks going on. I wonder whether they're actually doing anything or they're just set up, because these roads are famous for having a good old hoon, and that's exactly what we're going to try and do today. So I've set the car up in Sport Plus everything, with the four-wheel drive system set to four-wheel drive Sport, meaning that it's rear bias power delivery. It still feels like a rear-wheel drive car, but the intelligence is that it can apply power to each of the wheels if we manage to max out the torque going through the rear wheels, just giving it that much more of a stable drive through the corners. I feel like I know the BMW M car brand fairly well, but the BMW M5 is a car that I've never fully understood. Being an executive saloon, a car that a lot of businessmen drive, and the M5 being the pinnacle of the 5 Series, the most intelligent, the most powerful. However, having been in the car now for 24 hours and getting to grips with it, I couldn't be further from the truth of it being just a super saloon executive car. This is a performance car with all of the luxuries that you would ever need from a daily driver. And I think the performance is the best place to start. 0 to 62 takes 3.4 seconds. It's nearly got 600 brake horsepower, meaning it is more powerful than my Lamborghini Huracan. It's more powerful by 100 brake horsepower of my AMG GTS when I picked it up. Meaning, 600 brake horsepower from a car that is the size of a tank. But the most important stat is it's got more red lights. The most important stat in and around all of this incredible power is that it's got 750 Newton meters of torque, meaning in any gear, and this is something that I experienced for the first time in a turbocharged car driving the McLaren 720S. When you're in 6th gear or 7th gear in the McLaren and really low down in the revs, there is absolutely no power delivery whatsoever. You put your foot down and it's nothing. In this, just picks up in any gear, and it is frighteningly quick. So much so that I just spat everywhere. Oh, there's an M5. It was going quick. So here we have a car that costs £87,000 plus optional extras, which this car has got, meaning it is £102,000. What do you get? Where is the value in this car other than the performance and the technology? And to me, having driven about 45 minutes to these incredible roads where we're able to put the power down and find out what the performance is like. It's the little things that I think BMW used to forget in M cars versus the normal series cars. So for example, my BMW M3 had the carbon interior pack, meaning that it felt a little bit more special than a normal 3 Series. But apart from that, if you don't spec carbon and a few other little individual bits in the car, then you're really just sitting in a 3 Series with a much better engine and fundamentally a much better car on the outside. But it doesn't make you feel special when you're sat in it. And I think that's one thing that BMW have always lacked. But the interior quality on the M5 is not only a vast improvement with the materials used, the black piano finish, the satin carbon, all of this stuff around here, but they've gone the extra mile, finally, on an M car. I feel like BMW have gone the extra mile and they've spiced it up a little bit. They've sportified it. Is that a word? They've sportified the 5 Series and provided a combination of materials plus these beautiful red little details, M1 and M2, which were my favourite buttons on the BMW M3 because this car is so customizable, the most customizable out of its competitors, E63s, Audi RS5s, Audi RS6s. You can customize everything to your personal desired taste. So you get additional value in the interior now with the M5s. But if I was to click M1, it turns into an executive BMW that has all of the mod cons, all of the technology that you need, all of the beautiful materials. The finish in here is super luxurious and of such a high quality that for £100,000, the closest that you will probably get to an interior like this, it reminds me a little bit of a Rolls Royce with the interior quality finish and the silence inside. But they're like over £250,000. So whilst at the beginning of the drive and I saw the spec sheet and I saw that this car was £100,000, I was like, for a BMW M5, 100 grand? And fundamentally, if you go on Auto Trader now, you can pick up a BMW M5 that's a 2016 done 45,000 miles for 50% of the list price. So there is no denying that this car in 18 months time is going to be closer to £50,000 than £100,000. But when you drive it in comfort mode, and I know that this is like an incredibly boring part of the drive, but 90% of the time that you're going to be driving your M5 is probably in comfort mode. You're going to be commuting, you're going to be driving to meetings, or you're just going to be ferrying your family around. It's incredibly quiet. It's got an active valve control, meaning that the exhaust system can be turned off or manually overridden and turned on so that you can get the rumbles whilst driving in comfort mode. Which again is something that a lot of manufacturers are doing now. They're spending a lot more time engineering an exhaust system so that it can tailor to every different personality that's going to buy the car. But I'm not raising my voice. The road quality is amazing. Comfort mode, the suspension is supple. You don't feel any of the bumps in the road, which is completely different to my BMW M3. That was so stiff in comfort mode that my C63 feels like I'm driving in a cloud. But these are the impressive characteristics of the M5 that I just, because it had never appeared on my radar, I had no idea what I was missing out on. And whilst it is a big car, it's got 4 doors, it doesn't fit into my life in any way, shape or form. This comfort mode is the closest thing that I think that you can get to a Rolls Royce without spending Rolls Royce money. But then on the complete flip side, you have got another M5 there. There's an old M5. That was the previous generation. But on the flip side, when you put everything into Sport Plus and you start playing around with the drivetrain settings, you've got one of the most intelligent performance cars that you can possibly buy on the market today. And for 100 grand to have that split, I think that's fairly good value for money. This has got more power than my Lamborghini Huracan, which now on Auto Traders are 170, 180,000 pounds. It's slightly underpowered in comparison to a 458 Speciale. It's got more power than a Ferrari F50. It's got similar power to a Mercedes McLaren SLR, and it's got 30 brake horsepower less than a McLaren F1. For 100 grand, that still does things that you would get from a Rolls Royce that costs $250,000, then it sounds good value for money. So it's been a fairly fleeting visit to Wales. I've got to head back to the hotel now because I've got a train to catch. I'm heading back home because my C63 AMG is still at Dub Customs, and I've got a lot to fill you guys in on with that car. So I'm going to be collecting that car tonight before I head to the Cotswolds to drive a car that I've been waiting quite a long time to drive, and it could give this one a run for its money in terms of the ultimate daily. I'm so desperate to pick up my Mercedes because I have not seen it before I went to Geneva, so around the 1st and 2nd of March is when I dropped it off, and it's had a bit of a cosmetic change, shall we say. But I fully intended on picking that car up yesterday before realising that I needed to get a train out here. So, ladies and gentlemen, hopefully you've enjoyed my insight into the 2018 BMW M5, and when you see it on the road, I'm going to have so much respect for the person that's driving that car, because this is a wicked car. Thank you for watching, guys. Please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to Supercars of London for plenty more supercar content, fast car content, not fast car content, fast driving content, and slow driving content. All of it is to come on this channel. Thank you for watching, guys. I'll see you soon. Goodbye. I forgot to mention the fuel economy. It's atrocious. I've got 3/4 of a tank left and 234 miles. Yeah, not that good. Bye.